I'm Harrison Graham. It's time for another Bears Now mailbag. Rome Odunze season. Is Tyler Scott in serious danger of getting cut? I think he's in danger. I don't think by any means he's viewed as safe by certainly me or that Bears coaching staff, because I think we'd all be pretty surprised if the top four here were not on the team. Now, Zacchaeus isn't making that much money. If he legitimately gets beat out, he could certainly get cut. But DJ Moore isn't going anywhere. Rome Odunze isn't going anywhere. Luther Burden just got drafted. They're all three locks, barring an injury, which would clear up a roster spot. Zacchaeus I would put as a soft lock. And to me, that probably leaves two spots. I would guess they carry 6 receivers. Most teams carry 6 now. And, Devin Duvernay, I would probably have him ahead of Tyler Scott right now because he's your leading front runner to be your punt and kick returner. And then Miles Boykins made some plays at OTAs. Jade Walker had a couple of nice plays at OTAs. J.P. Richardson is an intriguing UDFA. I mean, I'd have Tyler Scott ahead of those two, but is he ahead of Miles Boykin? Is he ahead of Devin Duvernay? I don't know. I feel like 4 or 5 guys are going to compete for 2 spots, and Tyler Scott's in that mix. I think he's firmly on the bubble. If you ask me today, like, what do you think's more likely? He's on the team, he's not. I guess I would say he makes the team, but it feels 50-50 to me. I think he's going to have to show a lot. Now, he's got some explosiveness to his game. I think in theory he should give you some juice after the catch. So I think stylistically he could be a weapon for what Ben Johnson likes to do, but you got to go out there and earn it. So we'll see if he's able to do that or not. If you had to predict, will Tyler Scott make the Bears 53-man roster? Type Y for yes, he will, or type N for no, he will not. Cornelius, hot take, Dominique Robinson will make the team in 4 sacks. That is a hot take. I don't know if it's scorching hot that he'll make the team because you're not that deep at defensive end right now. I mean, you could make a not crazy argument and say there's a world where he's your 3rd defensive end, right? I mean, Montez Sweat and Dio Dengbo are your top 2. I think last year Daniel Hardy was better than him, but he mostly played on special teams. I'm more intrigued with Austin Booker, but it's not like Hardy and Booker are just these established players. Could Dom Robb have a huge training camp and preseason and be the 3rd guy? I'd bet against it, but it's not impossible if the Bears don't make an addition. Even if he's not the 3rd, he could certainly be the 4th. So I don't think it's a hot take that he'd make the team, but I think 4 sacks, that would be a pretty big hot take. But hell, if you told me today, hey, take it or leave it, he makes the team and it is going to give you 4 sacks, sign me up. That would be, a pretty pleasant surprise in terms of what he would bring to the table. Another super chat from Adam. Appreciate the 5. He says, if Brisker stays healthy this season, do we start wondering if he just decided he wasn't playing for Eberfunk anymore? I don't think that's who Jaquan Brisker is. I don't think he told the Bears, I refuse to play for him. If he did, I think they would have cut him. I don't think a 3rd-year player is going to sit there and say, I'm not playing for him anymore, and they're just going to keep him around. A, I don't think he'd do that. B, I don't think the Bears would stand for that. Now, are there still some suspicious nature to that concussion? Like, was he truly not cleared for that long, or was there some kind of mutual understanding that, maybe he got cleared after 5 or 6 weeks, but the season was lost, so they held it? I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get down to the bottom of that completely, but he's had a healthy offseason. He had a nice interception the other day at OTAs, so I don't know. That's one of those mysterious things that we may not have the full answer to. But regardless, he has had multiple concussions. He's been nicked up. It is still a concern. Even if he has a healthy year this year, that does not mean he all of a sudden just never had injury problems like he has. That's just the bottom line. Okay, today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Do you know ball? Well, there's only one series left in the playoffs, and the championship is officially on the line. That means time is running out for you to put your final takes to the test with Prize Picks, the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. And listen, we got a special deal right now. You can win up to 2,000x your lineup right now, your entry. So what does that mean? If you do a $10 lineup, certain ones can turn into $20,000. That's right. take advantage. Just pick more or less on your Prize Picks lineups and cash in. It's very, very simple. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started today. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. We're going to take the more on his points, rebounds, and assists for game one there. Tyrese Haliburton going to take the less on his. And then Pascal Siakam more on his points. Siakam's been absolutely fantastic in these playoffs. 10 to win 50 on this three-player lineup. But again, certain lineups, 2,000x your money. Check it out today, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you sign up and play for just $5. Just $5. Fire off that first entry. It doesn't matter if you win or lose it. You're going to get that additional $50 for free. Link is in the comments and description. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. Tim Griffin, does Rome go for 1,000 yards this year? I think he does. I think Rome takes a big step. He's just too gifted of a player. I mean, at times last year, it felt like he had some rookie moments, like him and Caleb weren't on the same page with some of the routes, and I think some of the minor details weren't there. He still had 50 catches and over 700 yards and a bad offense when things weren't always on the same page. I don't think it's unreasonable to think he can have a jump to 1,000. I think that's very much in play. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility he's your number one receiver by the end of this year. You certainly drafted him to become that over time. So I will say yes, he is a 1,000-yard guy this year. I think that happens. All right, Kiddis, what do you think is the likelihood that we still add another running back, or do you think the room is set? I'm going to say 60% they do, 40% they don't. I don't think it's a lock that they'll add somebody, but I just think that when you look at this, DeAndre Swift is what I would call an average starter. He's a good NFL running back. He's probably, is he the 25th best running back in the league, which is still solid. It's still a starter, but he's a bottom 10 starter, which a lot of good backs in the league. It just is what it is. But more than that, the depth behind him, there's some intriguing pieces, but you don't know for sure if you have like a guy you really like to complement Swift as like in a true 1-2 punch, right? Because in today's NFL, the way you build your running back room is you do one of two things. You either get your bell cow, like Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, whoever. There's about 6 or 7 of them. Or you do it by committee, typically 1-2 punch, and then small contributions from a third guy. Well, if Swift is your starter, you have to have a 1-2 punch. Do you have that too in the 1-2 punch? Is Roschon Johnson that? Is Kyle Monungai that? I don't think Travis Homer's that. I don't think Ian Wheeler's that. I mean, I'm intrigued by Wheeler, but he's coming off a torn ACL. So I still think 60% yes, because I think there's too big of questions with Roschon and Kyle Monungai at this point. But that's what training camp is for, right? I think they'll take the first few weeks, probably the first preseason or game or two. How does Monungai look like with the pads on? He's probably not really built to excel in T-shirts and shorts. So time will tell. I would guess they still add somebody, but I don't think it's a done deal by any means. We will have coverage throughout OTAs, minicamp, and a whole lot more here on Chicago Bears Now. So turn on those notifications after you subscribe to the channel and do not miss a thing. Lacora, is there any chance that Luther Burden III can be a wide receiver 1 in the next year? Thoughts? It's possible. Would I bet on it? Probably not, because right now he's, wide receiver 3 or even 4 since he's missed time. I mean, he's not just going to be given a job over Olamide Zaccheaus. We know he's a lock to make the team, and talent-wise, he's your third guy right now. But, I think his skill set fits this offense well. I think he's got all the talent in the world. He's just got to get healthy and go out there and do it. Would I bet on him being the number 1 going into next year? No, I would not. But is it completely impossible? No, I could see it happening. Eric, Trapillo still left tackle 1 when Jones comes back? Karan fighting for a spot anywhere. Karan's going to be on this team. His 3rd-round pick last year. He would have to just completely be an embarrassment to not at least make the team. I am intrigued. If Trapillo is clearly better than him, I am intrigued. Like, do they work in Karan at guard, get him some reps there to increase his value where he's not just, a swing tackle, but he can play some guard for you if needed as well? Because, look, Jonah Jackson's been a little banged up the last couple of years. You might need a guy to emerge to step in and play at guard. Maybe Amagaji could be that. in terms of still LT1, well, we don't even know if he's left tackle 1 as of filming this mailbag on Monday. We might have a clearer picture after mandatory minicamp, but we won't really know for sure until training camp gets here. But I do think we'll have an idea if he's ahead of Amagaji or not, because both guys got reps at the ones during the first 2 weeks of OTAs. All right, who is the Bears' best player right now? Right now, not who's it going to be in 5 years or who's it going to be in the future. Who is the best player on this team the second? I would say Joe Thuney 1, Jalen Johnson 2, but what say you? All right, Adam Morrow, if Caleb breaks out, I think we could potentially win 12 to 14 games with this coaching staff. Look, if Caleb breaks out and is a true top 10 quarterback in this league, they're going to be in a lot of games because the defense at worst is going to be solid. You got playmakers everywhere. They're going to be tough to beat. The coaching staff's going to be good, I think. 14 is a lot of wins. It's a tough schedule on paper, but could they go 12-5? I don't think it's impossible. I picked him to go 11-6. So, yeah, if your quarterback's a true top 10 guy this year, I mean, I'd be shocked if this wasn't at least a playoff team. That's for sure. All right, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Jimothy, do you think it will become more common for players to retire at an earlier age? You've seen it some in recent years. I think sometimes we overreact when it happens. The reality is you see it like once or twice a year, a guy sub-30 who's still a good player that retires. It's not like, a dozen players are doing it a year, right? I do think there's going to be a slight uptick because these players, they're well aware of the risks. Like the concussion data came out from all those guys in the 70s and 80s and all that, CTE. So yeah, certain guys are going to do it, right? They're going to play out the rookie contract, maybe do one more contract and, call it a career. And instead of making $100 million in their career, they'll settle for 50, right? Occasionally you might get who was the kid a few years ago? He played 1 year in the league and then he retired, even though he was like a third-round pick. Was that Borland, I think was his name? Yeah, for the 49ers. That'll happen from time to time, but I don't think it's going to become like an epidemic. I mean, these guys are well versed in the risks in college, in high school now. So, I think you'll see it a little bit, but I don't think 10 years from now we're going to be like, God, no one's playing into their 30s. I'd be surprised. Johnny VP, am I the only one who feels we don't need another running back? Swift almost got 1,000 yards behind a shitty O-line. Every back we have is going to look much better. Yeah, I mean, I do think this group will look better just because the line will be better. But I don't think Swift is all of a sudden going to have elite vision. Now, if he has wider holes to run through, that just makes the job easier. And I've said, I think Swift is a good player, and I think he'll be a good player in this offense. Roschon Johnson, in theory, should bring a physical nature to his game, but he's also had concussion issues. So I agree that the room should just play better because of the offensive line, but if there's a guy out there that can elevate the talent of the room, I mean, I don't think they should rule that out either. Appreciate all the questions. You can find me on social media at HGramNFL, both on Twitter and Instagram. DMs are wide open if you want to hit me up over there. I got to catch up on some IG DMs, but I will do that in the next week or so. So fire away if you have any more questions.